Hello and welcome, my name is Meepolis and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are going to be looking at another work by Jirō Taniguchi, namely A Zoo in Winter, a not quite autobiographical telling about how Taniguchi first became a mangaka, set in the 1960s. This book was published in 2008 and translated in 2011 by Ponent Mon Left to Right, like all of his work. As far as trigger warnings go, being a rendition of generally someone who IDs as a man's life in the 60s coming to the big city, there's some stuff. I'm still not clear exactly on what I should be tagging, but there's a list of things that are noteworthy, a literal zoo to start with, then a naked model that Hamaguchi has a hard time not ogling, lots of indoor smoking, drinking, teasing Hamaguchi because he was dancing with a quote cross-dresser, girls having to hide from bad guys, not Hamaguchi, and a literal being inspired by dying girl bit. Flipping over the book to introduce how the creator has decided to portray themselves, The Pleasure of Drawing, Kyoto, 1966. The young Hamaguchi is working for a textile manufacturer whilst dreaming of becoming an artist, when an incident at the zoo forces his hand. He moves to Tokyo at the invitation of an old school friend who also arranges an interview at the studio of the famous mangaka Shiro Kondo, where he quickly discovers both the long hours of meeting studio deadlines along with the nightlife and artist haunts of the capital. For the first time ever, multi-award-winning Taniguchi recalls his beginnings in manga and his youth spent in Tokyo in the 60s. It is a magnificent account of his apprenticeship where all the finesse and elegance of the creator are united to illustrate those first emotions of adulthood. Slow, like A Distant Neighborhood, this coming-of-age story was interesting but not particularly entertaining. There's that strong sense of nostalgia again, and the art is conventional but in a way that is still striking. As far as gender and sexuality goes, that was certainly one of the biggest drawbacks. It just felt like such a closed-off boys' club sort of dealio. Hamaguchi seems like a nice enough guy, and some of his coworkers are women, but women, cis women, remain such an incredible mystery to Hamaguchi that they're just these wispy creatures on pedestal, fragile, and this case also literally dying. And since we are dealing with mostly dichotomous view of gender here, this leaves a very little for people who do not identify as male to really go with. I guess, however, in contrast, his portrayal of women in A Distant Neighborhood seems all the more empowering. Class is not really touched upon as well. Hamaguchi clearly does not have much money. Things always seem to work out for him. We certainly do not spend that much time focusing on negative things, and the hectic work schedule of manga production is shown to be exciting. I'm not sure if his chronically ill girlfriend really counts for disability representation, but if it does, it ranks pretty high on the inspiration porn kind of representation. I mean, it's difficult to critique someone's real life, but Taniguchi could have toned down the fervent sincerity just a tad. He certainly had enough time to reflect, although little to none of that really seems to have come through in any way. Much more just a rose-tinted view of his own past. Bye all. Keep reading and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is recorded on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation. I live here because of British colonization, indigenous genocide, and more geographically specific, Treaty 13, also known as the Toronto Purchase, which was finalized in 1805 between representatives of the Crown and certain Mississauga peoples. This treaty was a lie and has since been broken many times over. Saying so reflects only my own small steps towards knowing the truth and does nothing for reconciliation.